Clayton Brenda says she's got the wine ready and the food prep. That's a bottle of water. Why give you the water?
No.
All right, everybody's ovens should be on. We need the oven. Yep, preheat the oven, 140. Ben, do you want a gin?
Yes, please. I'll try one.
Oh, no, you've got yours there.
Where is? Oh, wait. So my producer, my boss, oh no, so we just start. I'll start.
All right. What have I missed? Okay. I got 40 on.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right, Colin.
Yeah. Hello, good evening. First of the day. Can everyone hear? Can everyone say? Hello? Cheers. Happy Friday. It's all a bit weird not being in lockdown and doing this. Very interesting. Hope everyone's okay. That's why far away. Let's see. So we're doing pork stew. Where's the recipe? Pork neck stew. So we've done this before, but obviously someone else we're doing it in line with Tyrrell tonight. So obviously everyone's got their pork neck. This is a beautiful cut of meat. It's actually a piece of meat that you can cook like a steak and cook it, say, medium. You cook it medium, not medium rare, so medium. And you can slice it and eat it. Or you go the other way and you overcook it and you braise it till it becomes, like after a few hours, it becomes nice and soft. But in between, you can't do in between. So you can do medium rare or you can overcook it. But it's not overcooked, it's not braising.
Just check that everybody can hear it.
Can everyone hear? I did that.
Can everybody hear okay? There was just a couple of people said that they couldn't. Okay.
Everybody can hear. So what you want to do now is get your pot on the stove, put it on a medium heat, and then we're going to hard it after we trim the pork, because we want the pot more or less red hot. So when the meat hits it, we're going to get a caramelization. But we're going to talk through that anyway. So I'll talk through the ingredients just to know everyone's on the same page. We got our pork neck, beautiful. You could use pork shoulder if you want. For this recipe, you can use lamb shoulder, you can use lamb neck. For beef, you can use beef brisket. Olive oil, we'll probably use more than what we say. A clove, really, you know, it's not a ginger. I usually, I like a lot of ginger, so I add more, but that's to you. Carrots, you could add more carrots if you want to make it more veggie and more substantial. Onion, you can use red or white. Garlic, what else we got? Garlic, bay leaves, I forgot, they're in the garden again. I'll go get them in a minute. Star Anise, whatever you call it. Right, so 2 of them. Water. You could use chicken stock, but you don't really need chicken stock, because if you roast the meat off properly, you're going to get a great stock anyway. Soy sauce. I use sort of the premium sort of mild, don't want the heavy one. We've got, right, so I'll talk you through the legumes later. So we've got a mixed tin of legumes, and I've got chickpeas, but I've also got all the dried. But I'll talk you through all these later. So while the meat's on, we can have a chat about them. What else we got? Add a splash of vinegar, but I'll talk you through that at the end. Any vinegar you want. Okay, let's go. Is everyone up to speed on that? Hello? All right.
Yep.
So let's get our pot. Everyone get your pot hot. I'm putting mine on a medium heat. So no oil in the pot because you'll have a fire. So get your pot on. So when we cut our meat, the pot is going to be red hot, and I'll talk you through it then. But we're not going to wait, because if your pot's not hot enough, you're not going to get the caramelization on your meat. So what we do is now we start with our pork neck. Beautiful piece of meat. You could actually braise the pork neck like this over a couple of hours, and you would have a beautiful piece of meat. But because it's such a short time for the old class, we're going to cut it quite small tonight, because if you've got all night to eat, it's fine. But I'm just cutting it. You don't trim it. See all this fat? That's what you're going to break down. That's the beautifulness of the pork neck, because the neck does a lot of work. So you want to cut it into little, not eat like finger slices, right? Doesn't really matter.
Would you leave the lid on the pot while it's heating?
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. Right, and then you're going to press your meat. And then if you know what a lardon is, it's probably like that. I'm going to cut it quite thin because we want it to cook. The thicker you cut it, the longer it takes to cook. So the thinner, it'll take less. So I'm just cutting it quite thin. You can go thicker if you want. Like, you can cut it like that. You could even leave it in like that. I would love to leave it like that. That'd be great. Well, obviously we haven't got time. Right. So these are like lardon size little trimmings. James White's just walked in from Bourke St Bakery. Anyone who's done our classes before has met James. Sorry about that. Right, so what we do is just take your time. Nice, beautiful, like lardon shape. So I've got about that size. Is everyone keeping up?
How long would you cook? Lucy wants to know how long would you cook it for if you left the meat in big pieces?
Like if you've got all night, that will take 2 hours, right? Something like that. But you're going to get a better product out of something like that. Or I'd even cook the whole neck as one piece. You'll get an even better product. But because time is not our friend.
So if you're cooking this to eat tomorrow,
oh yeah, you could keep one whole piece, but then we'll have nothing to do. Right, so everyone get up to that stage, get your meat nice and like that. But this is fine. Like if you're gonna do a nice pasta or a noodle dish or whatever, this size is great. Fork size. And you would use the neck because it's got all that beautiful fat. Like you wouldn't braise with a fillet because the fillet's got no fat. Because it's at a place in the body where it doesn't do any work. Whereas the neck does a lot of work, the shoulder does a lot of work. Right, so everyone get to that, and then we're going to bring that over to our pot. You can actually season it now while it's here. Right, get to that stage, everyone.
The audio cut out when he said how long you cook it for, but was the piece was whole.
If you're cooking it a whole piece, maybe two hours. And just a gentle, so 2 hours. Or if you bought a whole neck, like if you're doing it for a big Easter or whatever, something like that, or Christmas, like a whole neck, you would braise it over 6 hours, nice and slow. You'd let it cool in the liquid and then break it apart. Right, let's go to the stove. The kid. Go light. Okay, guys, so this is the secret to how you get a great color and flavor in the sauce, right? So as you can see, this has been on 5 minutes. So what you're going to do now is, be very careful on this. So your pot's red hot, but you're going to add your oil. It's going to move quite quickly. And then you're going to add your meat, but you're not going to move the meat. So just watch me before you do it. You'll see the oil move quite quick. So a good plug. So let the oil come to temperature. See the way you're getting a little bit of smoke there? Obviously you don't want a fire. So just if it smokes too much. But you want the oil as hot as you can get it. And then what you're going to do is with your meat, you don't put it all in one blob. See the way I'm not moving it? The same way if you do a shepherd's pie or a lasagna with your mince, you drop it in, but you don't move it. Right, so see your meat is caramelizing now. So what's happening now is the sugar is reacting to the heat and it's starting to caramelize. So what happens now is all the liquid starts to come out of the meat. So if you don't have your pot hot enough, it's going to stew and start bubbling and you're going to get that grey liquid. You can even go onto a high heat with this now. And don't move it. Because if you move it around, it actually cools down the pot and you're going to just start stewing and get liquid. You see the way you're starting to get that little brown bit there? It's still white, but the brown bit, you're going to get a lot more intense, and that's the flavor, what's going to flavor your stock. So what you want to do is this is going to go for about 10 minutes. So we can leave this go. You can hear the sizzle. The sizzle will get louder as the liquid reduces. Right, let's go back and do our veg.
Did that get moved to a higher heat?
Yeah, so you can move it to a higher heat while it's on at this stage.
No, there is heating up back pot plate. I don't touch me that way. I think it was new.
I've got my stove on full. So it's on full, the meat's in the oil, and it's just on, don't move it. Right, now you prep your onion and your garlic.
Yeah, only use a glug of that oil. Don't use it all, Brenda.
Keep all this for stock. I cut it quite rough for a bit of texture because you know you're going to eat this, you're not going to strain it. Garlic. What do we say with garlic? Right, garlic. This is the tip. If you haven't tuned in before, hi to Gordon and all the other lunatics out there who've been here before and done it. How are you?
You're not there.
Please enjoy. All right, sorry, Gordon. So this is your garlic. Unpeeled, slice it like this, and that's it. Don't do anything else to it. Has everyone got that? So what happens when you braise it? The little pieces of garlic pop out as they're braised. Carrot, just take it, yeah, just cut it in half. Don't peel it. Obviously, it's washed. You don't need to peel the carrots. And then nice little knobs. You can put fennel in here, you can put leeks, you can put celeriac, swede at this time of year. Jerusalem artichokes would be nice in here. Right, let's go check our meat because I can hear my oil get a bit faster. So you can start to smell sort of a roast pork flavour now. Either way, we haven't moved it. So you're starting to get this beautiful brown, because that's what's going to flavour the stock. You don't want to move it yet. Is everyone's pork okay? Anybody? Bueller? Bueller? See the way you've got liquid coming out of the pork here? There's a little bit of liquid. In a few minutes, the liquid's going to disappear, and then it's going to start caramelizing a lot faster. But the secret to the sauce, look, have a look as I showed you again, is this. That's the sugar in the meat, which is caramelized, and when the water hits that, it's going to make it stop.
That's fine, Gabby. You can just take some of the oil out.
Right, now we're just going to turn our meat. Anyway, there's a lot of liquid now. That would I, what's that? Like, it doesn't matter, just throw the garlic in. Just all you do is pick out the skin later on. See the way what happened when I moved the meat around, it cooled down and a lot of steam came out.
Sorry, he missed that last question.
See that? Yeah, that's where you look, see that? Now we're going to give it another 5 minutes and it's all going to be like that. So when you stir it, a lot of liquid comes out, a lot of steam comes out. And you can see all this on the bottom of the pot. That's what's going to give you great gravy.
Can you type in your question again? He missed it.
What's the question? Is this the point where we add the peas? Who's that? Who's it? Yeah, there you go.
Oh, no, that one. Yes, that one.
I'm looking for. Looks like I've got a lot more oil fried grains.
What you can do is you can strain the oil after we're finished. The oil is just a medium to get the caramelization, and then we can strain the oil out after. You're not going to leave the oil in. So then you can start moving it a bit more. It's starting to get a bit more colour. And this is a prime example. Look at this. See that? That is going to give you a beautiful stock. See, now the liquid is gone. It's starting to fry a bit faster now. You can hear it. You can move it around. Same if you're doing lamb, if you're doing beef brisket. And ideally, if you're not all doing it in one night, keep it in one big piece and braise it. It'd be beautiful. So have a look at this. See the way it's starting to brown now? See the way you're starting to get all those little nuggets of brown? And now the liquid is gone from the pot. So all the liquid is gone from the meat. It's starting to caramelize a lot quicker. So just keep an eye on it. Yeah, our pan's on full and it's soon going to go on low. Because as you can see, there's no more steam. And once the steam's gone, you just caramelize the sugar in the meat. If you want, you can have a little strainer to drain off any of the oil if you're a bit worried. I'm actually going to leave this oil in because it's got a lot of flavour. But if you've got too much oil, have a little strainer and strain it out. So by now your pork neck it'd be really tough because you've overcooked it now. It's gone tough.
Gary wants to know, are we turning down the heat?
Not yet. When you've got this sort of colour, then you can turn down the heat. I'm going to go on a low. I'll go full. We're going to go a bit low now. See the way I've got all that colour now? And it's starting to smoke a little bit, so you go on low. If your meat still needs a bit more caramelisation, keep it on high. Well, look at that. Can everyone see that? Scrape all them little bits of meat off the bottom of the pan. All right, so run back, grab your carrots, your onions, and your garlic.
Does the oil add flavour, or is it better to caramelize the meat? Is there a trick to not burning the oil?
Yeah, control the pan heat. If it's starting to burn, you lower it down and go half. You've got to be in control of the pan, not the pan in control of you. Like photography. See that? That was pretty deep. Yeah, I know. So you've got your carrots, your onions, you've got your garlic still in the shell. Look, just throw it in. There's no drama. See that? And now what you do is, so you're cooking your root vegetable in the oil that you fried the pork in. That's going to take on all the flavour. And there's two ways of doing this tonight. We can cook it in the oven, or we can do it on top of the stove. But I'll do it on top of the stove faster, but I'll show you the fast way, just because I want you to eat tonight, but anyone who wants to do it for tomorrow. So you should be smelling onion, garlic, pork. See, what happens is the garlic just pops out. See that? It pops out, and then it cooks down into the sauce. And then later on, you just pick out the bits of garlic, throw it away. So you have a little bit of salt and pepper on your pork, but don't go crazy because later on we're going to add soy. And the soy adds sort of that umami flavor. Do you like that? Umami. But it also adds another seasoning as well. So you don't want to go too heavy on it. Right, so you should be smelling that now. what happens is the onions and the garlic start to take all the bits off the bottom of the pot, so all those little bits that make a great gravy.
Lucy wants to know, is the ginger in?
Not yet. Can I do the ginger now? Right, let's get the ginger. Let's go back to the table. So it's on low now with the vegetables in. All right, ginger. You can just trim, like sometimes I don't even trim the ginger. But I would use these as in a smoothie or something tomorrow, or a juice, skin on everything. So I like a lot more ginger, so I'm going to use all this. These are called in college batons. So all you do is just cut it in slices, and then you cut the slices in strips. Then what you do, or even if you had a microplane, you could microplane it in a lot quicker. But if you just put it in slices, cut it in strips, and then what you do is you put your strips into dice. You can cook it in the strips if you want. I like a lot of ginger. So your garlic, we topped, tailed the skin, so we had a square. We kept the skin for the juices, whatever, tomorrow. It's in chicken stock, it's great. And then we just sliced it, and then we turned the slices over into batons, and then the batons you turn around into dice. So now we're going to add that to our
Natalie,
stew.
what does your ginger look like?
Does it look like that, Natalie? Right, so this is going to go in. Now, when this goes in, well, you smell it. So you should be getting like a waft through the kitchen now of your pork, your ginger, your garlic. Stove's on, it's on sort of a low, medium, say medium. You don't want it too high now because you don't want to burn the vegetables. And see all this? Come in. See all this in the bottom of the pot? See that? You scrape that and mix it around. That's flavor. So it's like a Vegemite gravy. So you should be smelling ginger. Can everyone smell ginger? Hello? Has everyone got to this stage? What's that? How's the smell going? Oh, okay. A little extra to add on would be if you had old white wine in your fridge or something, you could add white wine to this now, or just to give it a little lift. It's not in the recipe. We haven't got the extra. Or you could add some of the Tyrrells. You could add some of the little splash to just lighten it up a bit. You could actually go down a bit more Asian if you wanted. You could add lemongrass, lime leaves, galangal now, and you're going to get a little bit more Asian. But it's a stew, but we've added a bit of ginger to give it a kick and soy to season. Wine makes everything better. Of course it does, Mr. Tyrrell. How about we add some Tyrrell? Does this make it better? So if you don't have to add wine, this is showing you the glaze. This is the glaze, right?
If they're doing beef, should they use red wine
Yes.
or white?
Red. Stay with me, Jen. Come over here. So see the way when you add the wine, you don't have to add wine, everyone calm down. But this is showing you what the glaze is. The glaze is you add the wine and basically all the brown off the bottom of the pot, it takes the brown off. See the way the wine has gone brown? That's what I'm talking about. If you caramelize the meat properly, see the way it's gone brown? You haven't added any fake stock or anything. what it's done is taken the sugar off the bottom of the pan, and that's what's making your stock. And that's how you make a stock. So all that brown, beautiful caramelization it took a long time to make, that's what's given the stock the brown flavor. See what I mean? Let's have a look. So this is after 1 minute. Look at that. After 1 minute, you've got a brown stock, and that's just from the meat, from the caramelization. So what I'm saying is, all that time you took to roast the meat, and you take 10 minutes to roast it, and take your time and caramelize it, don't move it. This is the end result. You get a much better stock. So have a little taste of that now. If you've got wine, if you haven't got wine, we're going to add water. Stay with me, Ken. So what we do is we boil the wine, as bad as it sounds. You want to get rid of the alcohol, but you want the sort of fruitiness. Same with the water. If you don't want to add wine, you can add your water now, and it's the exact same result. So with the wine, you boil it. So I'm going to add the water now. You're going to add your water, and I've given you an amount of water, but if you add more water than you need, like you want to cover the meat, because the more stock you have, the better, because it's going to reduce.
Know how much wine do you add?
A splash, just to cover the bottom of the pan, that it will not disappear straight away.
I'd say about 150 mils.
So what you're going to do now is you add your water. You're going to bring this to the boil, so you can put it on a high heat once the water goes in.
Yes, then you add the water.
And what I suggest is you buy more pork than you need, and I would make it a double amount and freeze, and then it's there for when you want to do pasta again. It's like you're going through all this time to make it, and it's actually, if it sits for a while, it tastes better. All right, throw in your Star Anise now. Hold on. Star Anise. Two Star Anise. Put them in. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I've got my soy sauce and my vinegar, right? So this is where there is a recipe, but you've got to just use your head a bit. So we've got quite a bit of water, so I'm going to add a few splashes of soy. And now you're going to mix it. And you're going to taste it. Use your finger because it's moisture. So that's a little splash, but that's salty enough for me because it's going to reduce, and I can add more later. Can you use verjus? Yes, you can. I'm going to add a little nip of vinegar, right? Because you can add more soy or more whatever later. If you add too much vinegar and it's too vinegary, you've had an accident, you can add a pinch of sugar, and that will balance out the vinegar. If you've added too much soy, you can take some of the liquid out and just add water, balance it out. So as you can see, the soy adds a bit of saltiness, but it also has a great color, but that's also from roasting your bones or your meat. So now we're going to bring that to the boil. Any questions? Just check it for us. Because I would make this in 2 minutes. Okay, so now we're going to bring that to the boil. So in the recipe, it says put a lid on and it goes in the oven. But you can quite easily cook it on top of the stove on a gentle simmer, and it will still braise. But in the oven, it's just, you don't have to worry about it. You put it on, it goes away. But I'm going to cook it on top of the stove tonight because it's quicker, and I want you guys to see the end product.
Is 200 mils of soy okay? Martin wants to know.
As I said, Martin, maybe add 100, because I don't know how much liquid you've added.
Lisa wants to know where the bay leaves are.
One moment, Lisa. Martin, add 100, taste it. If you need another 100, add it. So it all depends how much liquid you've put in. The bay leaves are in the garden and it's wet, so I'm not going to.
And Lily and Maeve are in the bedroom. TikToking.
Well, let's start with the beans. Okay, so the beans. So this stew, we've said we're going to use canned beans just because
If they're putting it in the oven, do you put it in the oven now?
you're going to bring it to the boil. You're going to taste it, make sure it's not too salty, whatever, and then you're going to put your lid on it, and then you can put it in the oven.
Can they add chili?
I would suggest that chili. We've pared it all back. You could add chili, you can add cinnamon, you can add rosemary, you can add whatever you want. Cumin, be great in there. Cardamom, ground cardamom. Brown cardigan. So we've got chickpeas. This is all left over when we thought the world was ending. We've got mixed beans. These are a little bit, it's like they're in a can of snot with beans. Like, I don't know, I'm not too sure about these. But you know what I mean? We bought them in pandemic time, you know, it was the end of the world. But ideally, something like a black-eyed pea. So I buy these down in Maroubra Junction. These are dried, what are they called, like?
They are the musical thing, Andy.
You can't say that nowadays. Can't say black-eyed peas. Peas. Peas.
Nathan, the belly, he doesn't have them because they're out in the garden, but yeah, if you have the belly,
Put the bay leaves in now. If you had rosemary, put it in now. If you had thyme, put it in now. Kidney beans. So what you would do is last night you would soak these in water, and they will double. The water will reduce.
The Star Anise is in as well, Nathan.
Yeah, you soak these the night before. The dried beans, they'll soak up all the water, and then you will gently cook them in non-salted water until they're like al dente, and they would be ideal for the stew. But for quickness and whatever, you can use cans. But if it was me, I would do these and soak them the night before. Or lentils, you could add lentils now. Well, not now, halfway through the cooking. Lentils or green split peas would be
Gabby
great.
wants to know, will the soy flavour intensify through the cooking?
The soy flavour will intensify the more you reduce it. So if you reduce it too much, it will get saltier. If it gets too salty, you add more water. So that's what I'm saying. Add the soy taste. If it's salty enough for you now, just leave it.
Does that help, Gabby?
If it's too salty, add more water. So is everyone's stock on boiling? Hang on. Stay there. Come over here, Jack.
Here, can you take it over to my copy or maybe?
Jack. So see this? Our stock is it's boiling. This is called scum. Just take a little bit of that scum off. That's basically all the oil. Little bits of the meat you don't want. Impurities.
Do you add the beans?
No, we're going to add the tin beans. We're going to add at the end because they take no cooking. But there should be a beautiful aroma now. And now I'm going to lower this down. Have a look. The half speed, Mrs. Hiller. You see this? So now you will put this in the oven with a lid. I'm going to cook it on top of the stove because I need it by the end of the class. But you've got, look at your stock. Look at that. Manu can't even make that. Like, you know, you can't buy that in Woolworths. Look at that. Yeah. Right, so what happens is now, I'm just going to leave mine on top of the stove. If you want it in the next hour or in an hour, leave it on top of the stove. If you want it later on tonight, oh, there goes the light. If you want it later on tonight, pop it in the oven with a lid and just keep it nice and gentle. And now we're going to hear from our sponsor, James White. I'm not on camera there. You are. Okay. Right. So
Chris Tyrrell's on the line.
Right. So we got Chris Tyrrell on the line. I don't know how this works.
It's in the fridge, so you got to get the Chardonnay.
Hello, we're here.
How are you?
Pretty good.
Can everybody see Chris?
Yeah, due to, I better say good day to my mate James as well, who last time I saw James, we had a fair few too many Chardonnays.
Friday as well.
Yeah.
How are you, mate?
Very well, good to see you, buddy.
Good.
So yeah, I'm on the Chardonnay at the moment while I'm watching this this demonstration so far, and it does seem weird doing this now that we're allowed to go out again.
We've got this one. We've got the I think it's just released 2017 Belford Vineyard Chardonnay.
That's the one. I'm halfway through mine already, and I think the good thing about wine and our philosophy here at Tyrrell's is that wine should complement a great meal. It shouldn't be too big and too bold. I think the great thing about wine is you're usually doing what we're doing now. You're cooking a good meal and enjoying it with friends, and it's certainly part of the social occasion rather than the hero. So that's our philosophy, and we like to make these medium-bodied, food-friendly wines. And I think a lot of winemakers say they've got food-friendly wines, but a lot of them aren't. I think. But I think with Australia's climate, the food we eat, medium-bodied wines that are nice and fresh with great acidity, and with a dish like this. Sorry, that's my 2-year-old screaming in the background.
That's okay.
Bath time. And I think that vibrancy and acidity is what you need when you're eating food. And that's something that I really think about and we think about when we're making wine, is they've got to go with what you're eating. So as everyone's doing a drink there, I'll say cheers as well.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
So I think Chardonnay in Australia at the moment, if you're still on the anything but Chardonnay crowd, then you're probably missing out. Chardonnay in Australia at the moment has never been better, whether it's Hunter, Yarra, Tasmania, Adelaide Hills, Margaret River. Australia's Chardonnay is just absolutely killing it at the moment. And I think they're more medium-bodied than what they used to be. Less oaky, more fruit-driven, fresher, bright acidity. I think that's what we want. So I'm not going to bag Sauvignon Blanc in public, but we don't need to be drinking Sauvignon Blanc anymore, do we? I think we've all moved on.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
Maybe we could get a tasting note from James, seeing he's in the middle of the
Talk.
No, you're right, Chris. I suppose all of us that grew up in the 80s and 90s were always scared of the really super heavy oak Chardonnays that Australia used to produce, and to be able to taste something like this these days is certainly a change. And hopefully,
that's right.
There
used to be a saying in winemaking: "No wood, no good." And the more oaky they were, they better. And which really doesn't fit, I think, the way we're doing things now. You want them to be lighter and more elegant, and match the foods that we eat in Australia and all the food that we cook in our climate, more importantly.
Yeah, very right.
Chris, Andy wants to know, how was 2017 vintage year?
So, as you know, I'm a Tyrrell, and my family, particularly my grandfather, is famous for saying every single vintage was the vintage of the century. He's an incredibly good marketer, so I'm not quite there yet. But for me, 2017 was one of those really few vintages where whites and reds were both outstanding. So normally, if it's a warmer year, the reds will be great concentration, but the whites might be a bit big. If it's a cooler year, the whites are bright and pristine, and the reds might be a bit underdone. But 2017, perfect, great across the board for everything. If we could have 2017 every year, I'd be a very happy man. So quite enjoyable to have all our 17s on the market at the moment.
And Chris, we don't have the Shiraz with this, but some have the Shiraz.
Yeah.
We drank the Shiraz last week. Sorry. What would you recommend with the pork? I mean, I think this Chardonnay would go quite nicely with even the bit of spice that's in there as well.
Yeah. I think particularly, well, certainly the reds that we make, you've got to be able to be adaptable to different things. And I think white meat dishes like pork that are a bit richer and something like this tonight, medium-bodied reds are perfect. Same deal, light on the oak, lots of spice, fresh acidity. Again, what the wine's doing is getting your palate ready for the next mouthful of food, really, isn't it? Cleansing the palate. And I think medium-bodied reds is certainly what we're all about. But in many ways, it's not too different to the Chardonnay, I don't think. You can got the food you can have. I'm okay having things like Pinots with fish and things like, Chardonnays with stuff like tonight. I think you can go both ways. And I think the one advice I've got is all the old rules with food and wine matching. Like, who cares about that? You know,
Yeah.
you like what you like. We all have. There are no rules, I think, is the new rule. Just do what you like, and you know, some really loose things, I guess, but just go with what works for you and what you enjoy drinking. That's what I do.
And how's 2020 been?
2020. Am I
And you're allowed
allowed
to
to
swear
swear?
if you want to. There's a lot of swearing in this class, so you can swear if you want to.
2020 was a fucking disaster. So, unfortunately, with the bushfires hanging around for, what was it, 3 months, we had a lot of smoke hanging around our vineyards. And what that does, if that smoke's in contact with the skins for too long, your resulting wine can have a smoky aroma and flavour and not desirable at all. So unfortunately, a lot of our vineyards we didn't pick this year, and it was a geographical thing. So a lot of our vineyards in a certain part of the valley were just, you know, enveloped in that smoke for months, and stuff away from the fires further in the north were fine. So whilst the valley looked great, the smoke was just a bit too much to handle.
Is it true, James? I heard that. Chris, is it true that I heard when the smoke comes through the valley, that when you taste the grapes, you can't taste the smoke, but it's actually in the skin?
It's a funny thing, and we were, you know, it's funny in the new year. I'm now an expert on smoke taint. I think I'm an expert on epidemiology or whatever it is with bloody pandemics. But what happens is the fruit looks good, the juice tastes good, but once fermentation takes place, it's probably a bit like cooking. It breaks down, and those smoke compounds go from being bound to being volatile. So unfortunately, you can pick all the fruit and the juice tastes good, but you make the wine, it's like, oh fuck, what happened?
Yeah.
So do you make an early call on that, Chris, and just not go through any of the process, or sort of
we picked a few things really early and did some little mini ferments, like 10 kilos, 20 kilos, and made the wines really quickly. And so it became a geography decision. So this part of it.
The grapes, do you just leave them?
We use them. There's our 2-year-old. Hello, Edward.
Hi, Evan.
We use them for cattle feed. So for some of our cattle and some other local farmers, so it didn't go to waste. So we were still in
that. Question. I was just about to say, does anybody have any questions? And the questions have just come flying through. Lots of questions about the lid on the pot and the oven. Clayton's answered that one. And then somebody did have a wine question. Does anybody have any wine question for Chris? I don't know if you can see the questions, Chris, so if you can, I'll read them.
I'll write back to them as we're going. The
Belford Vineyard soil is unique. What makes it so different, and how does it affect the wine? That's the Chardonnay that we're drinking.
Yeah, okay. We won't get too technical, but basically most good wine regions are based around a land mass or a water mass. Something geographically is doing the work. So
terroir.
You said it. I didn't want to sound like a wanker, but you just did it for me.
We had a $50 bet on how soon you could get that in there.
No, not a favourite of mine. But so the Belford Vineyard is the furthest of the premium vineyards in the Hunter away from the mountain range. So the soil is really, really fine. It's almost like talcum powder, really fine sandy soils. So not even bloody grass grows out there. The trees are really spindly and skinny. So what happens is that vineyard, you get really low crops, so less bunches per vine, and they're really concentrated. So the Belford Chardonnay is usually the richest and the most dense and the most powerful. And you can try and grow these wines and grapes and make the wines the same way, but all that matters is where they're grown. So that soil being so broken down and so bonesy and so, poor from a nutrient point of view, gives you these incredibly dense and concentrated wines.
Cool. And somebody wanted to know, is it a good time to come and visit the Hunter, or it is?
We're open now, the cellar door, and it's by appointment only, or we're encouraging. So seated tastings, everything's totally safe and sanitized, and everyone, I think, in all our industries is doing a pretty good job in that regard at the moment. So yes, open, and last weekend was our first weekend, and I think I've never seen the Hunter Valley busier. So it's great everyone's getting out and supporting New South Wales, because everyone's been locked up for so long.
I know. Somebody had a question comparing the 2014 to the 27 Shiraz. What about the Shiraz? What's the 2017 like compared to the 2014?
2014 is probably, for Shiraz, is probably my favourite vintage of the decade, of the last decade. So whilst I think 17 is very good, it's probably just a peg below 14. Those 14s are going to outlive me, I think. They are fantastic, those 14
And
Shiraz.
somebody's panicking. They want to know if you have enough wine to last through to the 2021 vintage. So
yeah.
if 2017 is your current release, do you have, or should they panic buy it now like it's toilet roll?
no, we did see a bit of
say yes, sell it.
Yeah, you can only sell it once. That's right, Colin. So yeah, I think we're going to be pretty skinny on a few things. So 2021 can't come soon enough in some regards.
Sorry,
Wow.
Chris, just on that, you said that 2014 pipped 2017. Like, what's that based on? Like, what qualities would you say are different between those two vintages?
I think probably those 2017s are like textbook classic Tyrrells, classic Hunter, but the 2014s are sort of one out of the box. They're almost atypical, but they're still medium bodied, which is what we do well, but they've just got concentration and vibrant purple, and they're just sort of unlike anything I've ever seen. And I think unlike, my father said to me, who's almost 70, he said, I'm glad I got 2014 at the start of my career, at the end of my career, and I feel upset for you because you got at the start and you've got your whole life to compare to 2014 now.
Compare it to, right.
So we do have some 2014 Stevens and some of the top wines left, which with this 2020 thing, we're going to re-release in those holes where 2020 would have been. So in a couple of years' time. So.
All right, Brenda's just asked if we can have some 2014 for the class. I might direct her towards your website.
Yeah, for the next, we'll save that for the next pandemic.
Okay. And somebody else had another question, but I missed that. Is visiting the best way that they can support the hunter, or what's the best way for people to support the hunter?
Oh, I think certainly the greater hunter from a tourism point of view, yeah, just, it's only 2 hours up the road. It's pretty easy to get to and get around. It's got everything here, but certainly if you're in Sydney now, restaurants are open. If you see a hunter wine, doesn't have to be Tyrrell, something from the hunter. The best way you can do it is the best way you can support is by buying some. I guess is the long and short of it. But yeah.
All right, we've got a lot of people here panicking over their ovens and their stews, so I might come back to Colin and his pots. But thanks, Chris, for
thanks, guys. Cheers.
Tuning in. And I love the Chardonnay, by the way.
Good on you.
Let's go.
Okay.
There was a lot of questions of pots. Thank you, Chris.
So I opted to not put my stew in the oven just because we've got hungry kids and whatever. So it's still just braising away. So let's have a look at the meat.
So if it's in the oven, is the lid on?
Lid on. Because you know what, you can leave the lid off, but why you leave the lid on is because the heat from the oven will start to caramelize the sugar around the pot, and it will burn, and it will take you hours to clean. So, and lid on is like a pressure cooker in the oven. So the steam comes up, hits the lid, goes back down. So look at this, my meat's starting to come apart.
How hot should the oven be? 140, it says in the recipe.
Look at this, Jen, so target. See this? My meat's coming apart. So it's cooked. Now what you're doing is just breaking it down a bit.
Paul wants to know what's the best pot to buy for this kind of recipe. Aldi, $30.
Oh yeah, Jen.
The casserole dish.
See these are a great pot. See these are not liqueur, these Le Cassoulet. Something like this that gets battered and just,
What if there's too much liquid?
It's going to reduce. You can reduce it. Just keep it going. It will reduce, and the more liquid, the better, because you can put it in a takeaway tub. And the next time you cook, you use that liquid as the base stock instead of the water.
Well, if Aldi are out, you can get Peters of Kensington have Le Creuset, but
no, not Le Creuset. See this? So remember what I was telling you about the garlic? So do you see the way the garlic is starting to cook now? Watch. Look at this. This is the money shot. You watching? The garlic pops out of the skin. So all that garlic, which is so good for you, as Pete would say, gets rid of coronavirus. So that just, pops out. Great for colds, garlic. And then you're just left with the skin. Yes, oh, I didn't say that because I don't want to be indicted on it. That's a big job. See the way the garlic just pops out of the skin, and you're left with the skin. Get rid of the skin, and now you've got that beautiful. See this garlic? You've got this now. Will just cook away in the sauce, and you know you didn't spend an hour peeling garlic. So this is what's left of the garlic, and that goes in the bin or your worm crab.
Rob wants to know, do you put the garlic skin in the smoothie too?
Yeah, tell Rob, come round in the morning, I'll give you a garlic skin smoothie. Oh, yeah. Nice. So mine's cooked now. My pork is cooked. Obviously in the oven it's going to take a bit longer, but I would reduce the stock a bit more, and I'm going to add, when it's cooked, you could add a bit more soy, a bit more vinegar to balance it out, because it's like it cooks out a bit. Oh, we lost the light. Back to the table, please. How's everyone's stew? Can everyone taste the stew?
Rebecca wants to know, what's your favorite thing to cook?
Pork shoulder. Suckling pig shoulder. Right, so can I just give a little shout out to Pasta. So great pasta product.
Will the beans absorb the stock?
Yes, a little bit, but not a lot, because they're
Back to the pasta.
so see this is Pasta, and the reason I'm giving a shout out, I'm going to use this in the red movie. You can stay, but you can sit on the edge. So the reason we're using, so we do a soup kitchen on a Monday for, so obviously the lock, what do you call it? Covert happened, so a lot of people have lost their jobs.
Always know, do you always clean your cooktop while cooking? Game changer?
Yes, Paul,
no,
but I'm busy giving a spiel, Paul. Be quiet.
No, he doesn't.
So what we do is, we do a soup kitchen on a Monday for Banksia, for hospitality when we're out of work, and just for locals who are doing it tough. And these guys have given us pasta every week for free, as well as Bourke St Bakery give us bread, Moo Fish give us fish, Mix give us meat. Who else? Who gave us the cheese? Meredith Dairy gave us the cheese. Ora King Salmon gave us salmon. If these guys want to give us more, give us more. So we do it every Monday. We do a soup kitchen, but these guys have been from the start. Rowy's Cakes. Rowy gives us. So these guys, the soup kitchen, we hand it out every Monday 2 o'clock for those who need it, meals. And these guys have been a big part of it. So we're going to do it tonight. And thanks to them, guys. I think they're cooking tonight, aren't they?
Yeah.
Try cook something else than pasta.
They've been here the last 4 or 5 weeks.
All right. But so that's the soup kitchen spiel. Tomorrow our restaurant's open for 400 people. It's not a restaurant, it's a march. So just putting that out there.
Somebody asked, they've got you give me the crackle from the pork neck. Will I cook it like we did with the pork belly in an oven, in a pan with olive oil?
If you've got what? Sorry.
Oh, I've lost it.
If you've got pork neck, a crack, a skin on your neck, yeah, you could. If you roast it on the neck, you'll get crackle. But you roast it to sort of medium. You don't want to braise it because you can't braise the crackling.
Linda wants to know, is the porchetta every Sunday at Banksia?
No. Last week we were chicken. Chicken was good. Then we did pork. The porchetta, we're actually doing a porchetta class coming up where we sold tickets to. What is it?
Yeah.
We have.
Sold
yeah.
out.
Sold out.
Sold out. But we're doing the ticket. What we're doing is a porchetta class where you can sit in the restaurant and watch this and eat. But we've sold the tickets for the restaurant to eat, but you can still buy online how we're going to make it. It's a prep class, so you're not going to get a whole. But
so the pork crackle is cut off, and she still wants to know how you cook it.
Okay. So what you would do is you would salt it in a lot of fat in a frying pan. Put another frying pan on top. It's going to spit quite a lot, and just put it in the oven and crisp up. Yep.
Does that make sense? Least favorite thing to cook?
Least favorite.
Carrots.
We did carrots last week, and
Anything without butter?
Yeah, obviously Jane and White.
Anything
got this
without,
gang on, I hate Colin gang. But least favorite thing to cook is probably Jane's, because she's on this bad diet thing with grains and no salt and no butter and no whatever. Just boil the water. So
Steamed, actually.
it's not. So that, and we cook barramundi every night.
And he's not allowed to use butter to finish the fish off.
But I do,
Kills
just to kill her off slowly. That's what I do.
Peas.
Peas what?
There's no peas in them.
We're going to do the beans soon.
Right.
Heading to Banksia, booked in for Wednesday night. Brenda, look forward to seeing you.
Brenda,
Kale.
have the leather jacket, deep fried leather jacket in batter, so it's on the bone, beautiful.
Could you add kale to this?
You can add whatever you want, kale, spinach, but right at the end, if you're going to add a kale or a spinach or a chard, or do you know what I would add to this is frozen peas, but right at the end, keep them green. Here's the pea. Right, so here's our beans in our tin of snot, right? So if you're not going to, the night before, you can use your tins. It's still got the same, I think it's still nutritious. And good for the...
Is that water or what is that?
It was water, but that should now be rinsed under a tap.
No. Just get rid of the
Yeah,
snot.
that's what I do.
Yeah.
And the chickpeas
Because
there.
otherwise-
Chickpeas don't have as much snot. Lentils are great. If you wanted to put raw lentils in now, or raw lentils are green split peas. Hold this one. Hold on, that's fine. There you go.
One job.
So what I always have in my pantry, which everyone hates in this house, is green split peas.
Horrible.
Yeah, that's great. I call these the JP. So horrible. So we got the green split peas. So if you wanted to add that to the stew now, you don't need to soak them. Lentils. These are the poi. What do you say?
The
Poi. Or I've got the feed Evan lentil.
Oh, hold on a minute. The chickpea snot. I missed that. That was a good comment.
It's called aquafaba.
So,
And you can whip it and use it like egg white.
yeah.
Oh yeah, vegans love it. They love it. They love it.
Oh, that's what they use in vegan
Yeah.
soup.
In
don't they?
vegan,
it is, yeah.
So this snot, you can make a vegan meringue. Or you can just go out and live, right? But our dogs eat this actually. Or
Is
vegans.
that Max's tip?
Pigs love it too.
Pigs love it, and
We don't
vegans.
have any pigs and bacon.
Or so these beautiful lentils, or these ones. So they're the French, the normal, and green split peas. You could add to the stew now, and they will take 20 minutes to rehydrate. Whereas the normal beans, you'll have to soak overnight to it. Is everyone on track for that? Or we've got
Max is there.
hello Max, back again, good man. We should have a loyalty system or a little badge or a t-shirt we send out.
We do the
Like
t-shirt.
We do, apparently. All right. Very well, I don't know. Right, so we got our beans and our peas. We've drained off the snot, and we're going to make a vegan meringue with that later on. Can't wait. Tune in for that one. It's called a Sarah Wilson special. Right, let's go. No sugar. Let's go. Let's go back to the pot.
Don't add on there.
So my stew is cooked. Let's have a look at this garlic. Oof. Oh, see the way the garlic's popping out? Now you would add your peas and your beans. If you wanted your stock thick, you could add a little bit of corn flour and a splash of water. That would thicken it, but I quite like it light.
So it's not meant to be super thick then, is it?
No, it's a broth stock light.
Is it too thick?
If it's too thick, add some water. So look at this. Your meat should be coming apart now.
No, it's not thick. It's not supposed to be thick, Gabby.
Not meant to be thick.
Oh, this is a white or a brown stew then. Brown.
It's a brown stew.
It's a brown.
Yeah.
A white stew is if you put the meat in and just pour the water over and bring it to the boil. That's like an Irish stew. A brown stew is where you put the meat in, you caramelize it. Hence, you got brown stock. So taste your stock. That's quite good. I would add maybe a splash of soy, a little bit, and maybe
Gabby,
vinegar.
cannellini beans is enough. You don't need to use.
Gabby's like just chatting away there all night. Gabby,
That's fine.
pour a red. I'm going to add a splash of soy. Mine, I don't know about yours, but you got to taste it. Everyone's dish, if we all did this
Fine, Gabby.
in a line.
The more you chat, the less he chats.
Gabby.
And we're all over listening to him this week. Would you take it out of the oven? Would you take it out of the oven to taste or leave it in for a while?
No, leave it in. It's going to take longer. So I'm going to splash the soy. The oven's going to take another 40 minutes. And you're going to get a better product out of the oven.
Somebody's has lots of liquid in it.
That's fine. Just keep it going. It will reduce. And just taste it. If the liquid tastes good, just save it for the next one. The more liquid, the better.
Savannah, does your liquid taste good?
Oh, that's
Sorry. The boys have all laughed when I said that. But does it taste okay?
It's okay, Vanna.
I'm gonna taste.
She's got. Is it salty?
Well, she's not answering now.
Sorry. Here. Okay. My stew's nearly ready to go. We've lost the power in the light.
What veg will you put with yours?
Well, you don't you've got
Spinach, peas, and broccoli.
Spinach, peas, broccoli. You could add now the raw spinach, peas, broccoli, and you don't even have to boil it. You drop them in, give it a stir, and the residual heat will cook it, and it will maintain sort of the integrity of the vegetable.
For beef, what temperature should the oven be on?
Beef, the same. It's meat. Meat is meat. It just depends. If you cut it bigger, it's going to take longer. We cut it quite small tonight just to get through the class. But you could have a piece of brisket that size and cook it for 3 hours with a lid on in enough stock and be beautiful. It's actually better if you cooked a piece of meat that size, but obviously we'd be here all night. Which is not a bad thing. You want to spend all night with Fassnidge, but that's going to cost a lot more.
Is everybody up to here? Why, Rebecca wants to know, why is it better to cook a larger piece?
Okay, I'll say it now. To cook a larger piece of meat, it's because you've got all that, Jane, stay on target. To cook a larger piece of meat, because you've got all that fat and connective tissue in the middle. So what happens is it softens while in the casing of the meat, and then it doesn't dry out. It doesn't dry out. So obviously this will dry out a little bit.
Oh, yeah. The camera's on you.
So does that answer your question? A piece of meat bigger, it's encapsulated in the piece of meat, it's gently cooks, and that's how it cooks. All right. All right, any questions? Let's go.
I missed that last question.
It's called Orphan. All right, so let's have a look at our stew.
Why is the knife handles all facing down?
Where? Oh, what did you get? You got to pick the knife.
Ellie. Oh, good girl. When do we take our stars and bay leaf?
You leave them in till you're eating it, and then you pick it out.
What happened to the shepherd's pie night?
It's still on. It's coming. Covered. All the shepherds were on foot. A bit of spinach. I'll add that now. Last minute. James, sit down and tell me about Bourke St Bakery this week.
I'll stir the.
When do we put the legumes in if we've got it in the oven?
In about another half an hour. So you can take the lid off, take a piece of meat out and just check if it's soft enough. If it's soft and you're happy with it, then you can take it out. Have a look at that.
Oh, Barry says it hopes it tastes as good as the Christmas dinner you cooked in 1999.
99. Who's that? Barry from where? Oh, that's that. Yeah, we cooked him for the backpackers.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Who's Barry?
I don't know.
That was a freebie, Barry. You owe me like about $90 for that. In my little apartment in crossing the Wayside Chapel.
Those walls could talk.
Oh, they wouldn't hurt much, buddy. So what I do is a little bit of stock. It's very comforting dish. I'm comforted already. Splash of the
Were you
EVOO.
part of the production team for that one, Barry?
That was, I worked at bank in Marketplace at the time, and I had an apartment, not apartment, I had a studio with 9 people living in it, Irish people, so I had no rent. And we cooked in a little oven, and we had Christmas lunch for all the backpackers in Potts Point by the Wayside Chapel.
How many days did you go for?
Oh yeah, we went for 3 weeks.
No, it went for television.
No, not that one. Christmas. And then we're going to add a splash of olive oil, just a little enrich. You could add some beautiful parmesan on there now, some pecorino. Check your seasoning. It probably shouldn't, you don't want to add salt and pepper now because you've added the soy. We can add more soy to your actual liquid. And this, when it's finished, you freeze it in takeaway tubs, and it actually gets. This is better a couple of days later. It's actually great. So if you could serve this braised pork neck with a piece of roast pork, with a pork chop with crackling on it, and put that on top on Sunday. And this is your sauce, your vegetables with a roast pork chop. It's a great accompaniment. So you got the braise and the roast.
And what are we serving it with tonight? Something else to know?
Wine.
We're doing it with pasta for the kids.
And bread. Beautiful crusty.
Somebody say garlic bread.
Garlic bread. So that's our.
Did anybody else cook theirs in the oven on the stove top?
You know, if I got that now, I would put it on some sourdough.
75 pallets.
Natalie's is still in the oven. Garlic bread in the oven. Grilled.
I suggest lots of olive oil. Right? Good, huh?
People.
Just the heart.
If I had
Ivana, did you do yours on the oven or on the stove top?
delicious meat.
I did the oven serving with homemade bread and Chinese choy sum.
Okay, get your own shop.
Doing
Yeah.
mash to soak. Somebody's is in the oven.
It's surprising that's good, huh?
Yeah.
I've homemade rosemary and
for
sweet
sure.
potato bread. Homemade rosemary and sweet potato bread. Somebody has. I'll have some of that.
I think the olive oil adds to it.
Someone said where's that
It
drink?
intensifies delicious.
Mash is being made too.
Mash should be great. Polenta, the soy doesn't detract from the polenta. It's more of a seasoning than an Asian.
Yeah, it's certainly
Nathan
not
wants
Asian
to
at all.
know
No.
when does he add the thyme?
An hour ago.
And now we've run out of time.
Belinda has it with the sweet potato.
Very good, sweet potato, low carb. So the soy doesn't mean it's Asian. It's just gives it an umami, a richness, and it's more of a seasoning. I use soy a lot instead of salt in a lot of the dishes or stocks.
Potato in the stew.
Well, we got beans, but you could use potato. But now you can't discriminate beans or potato. You can't just level.
Is there a story behind this recipe?
Oh, I think it was of sort of an Irish stew that turned into pork, and then I had Asians who worked for me, Asian kids who were teaching me how to cook using ginger and soy. I had to use it more of as a seasoning in a sort of English Anglo, what do you call it? Rongish recipes with soy as a seasoning. So it's learning to season with other accompaniments.
Is anyone's cooked, or is anyone waiting on theirs?
Let's just check the
finish?
carrots tonight because everyone wanted to cook.
Oh, that's it.
Do you prefer pork or beef stew?
Depends. If I'm doing pork stew, I would cut it like in big chunks, or even a whole neck. But then a beef brisket stew is beautiful. Or then I'll do a lamb shoulder stew, but a white one where I wouldn't seal it. I just poach it, and you get it. You know, there's a different sweetness in every meat.
Barry's is still in the oven. Have you checked it? If they don't like soy sauce, can they use something different?
Salt.
Salt? Barry's tried his, it's all good. See the dog's waiting for something. Let me see. Ellie, sit.
Hey, sit down. Sit.
She's waiting for the pork. Two of them, waiting for the pork.
Sit.
That's all she's been doing all night.
There you go.
Happy now.
Any more questions before we exit?
I've not been game enough to cut up big cuts of meat before.
It's better, it's cheaper and better to buy like a piece of meat like that rather than you go to the supermarket and buy a cubed up. And if you go to the local butcher, you can sort of get some products that are from farms or whatever that are like fed different meats or whatever. But you know,
I've not been game enough to cut up big cuts of meat before. What other big cuts can you cut up?
lamb shoulder, be great like this. Beef brisket, as I said. Any neck of an animal does a lot of work. Even if you want to cook like pork hocks, you don't have to cut them up, or you cook them like this. Anything that takes a long
Does
time.
cooking Bourke but help with taste?
Yes.
Everything barefoot.
They're actually slippers that look like feet. They're from
Rebecca wants to know, are you a pudding guy?
I like suet pudding. Sweet pudding, not so much. I'm more of a cheese.
Chris says, thanks for having me, Colin. Great work.
Thank you, Chris. One compliment, all right, it's great. I usually get a lot of backlash.
I think we should do a little road trip to visit Chris.
Yeah, we need to go to Chris's house and do a live stream. In my caravan, my new caravan.
Oh.
Yeah. Ask him when he's available.
This is the tax deduction right now.
I've got my new caravan.
Hold on a minute. We just heard about the last time you and Chris were together. That's how you
Long
introduced
day.
yourself.
It was a long day.
Long day.
I just bought a caravan. I'm meant to be in Ireland this week at a wedding. But anyway.
My dog Rufus was looked after by my mum in England. Shout out, please.
Hey, Rufus, rough. It must be rough over there, locked in, bro.
Oh my god, that's your worst stat joke ever.
Yeah. Okay.
Not old enough. He was born a grey nomad. Brenda, he was born a grey nomad.
That's delicious.
Yeah.
Delicious.
See you in 2 weeks for the Picetta. Belinda, see you in 2 weeks for the Picetta. No, 3 weeks. Is it 2 weeks or 3 weeks? 3 weeks.
Oh, 3 weeks. No, 2 weeks.
So the porchetta is a preparation class. It will be streamed. So it's streamed online. I would suggest, we've said grab a pizza in, take notes. There'll be a recording of the video.
TikTok.
There will be a recording of it on the night, but it's a prep dish to get it ready so that he will cook it on the night, or he'll have one cooked, but then you can prepare it to cook either on the Saturday or the Sunday. So it's like a really big pork.
We're going to show you what's coming up for family celebration or whatever. You can buy a whole.
Yeah, Belinda's prepping it to serve it on her birthday.
Oh,
Good plan.
Happy
Good plan.
21st, Belinda.
Yeah.
Any more questions before we go? I just added my pasta to that dish. So we're going to have a sort of pappardelle type dish, pork, which would be great. It's good, huh?
Max, I don't know if you can get copies of all the videos.
Are we coming out?
We'll have
We're doing a
Email
Christmas
Clayton.
special.
Email Clayton.
Fassnidge
He might have some of
comedy.
them. I don't know if he's got all of them, but he definitely has most of them.
We're going to do a like a Return of the Jedi New Hope box set.
Does anybody have any dramas before we sign out?
So the whole thing about tonight was the pork you dice, but whatever size you dice, you get it into the very hot pan with the oil. Whatever happens tonight, the one thing you need to learn is getting your braised meat into a very hot pan. Do not move, caramelize it, give it 10 minutes, then move it, and that's what gives you that great stock. So that's basically the whole thing about tonight's class, that the cracking class within. If you take that away from you, that's once you master that, that's how you're going to get a great stock, and then you just cook it nice and slow, low and slow, and then you've got a great dish. But if you don't get the caramelization at the start, it's a waste of time. Just buy mayonnaise stuff.
All right, everybody's having a nice night.
Okay, thank you. Good night. Au revoir.
Guys, we've still got the video going, so if anybody has any questions, is mine?
Yeah.
If anybody has any questions, we're just going to keep the video going for another little bit because I'm conscious of the people that have stuff in the oven. So if you need any help, we're here. He's just going to flutter around. Oh, can you get the kids out to set the table?
Have a look at this. We added our pasta verde. So we just folded in our pasta. Still got the beans.
Loz, look at the camera screen.
Look at that.
Crossing so many cultures.
Paul, that's the first time he's cleaned
It's
up
not-
flashback.
it's not
in ages.
Asian.
I'm surprised he
Pasta
posted
Asian.
it. Lily and Maeve are in the rooms and
We're in the trailers.
they're busy on TikTok. Is 200 mils of olive oil at the beginning for flavor, or can you use
Both.
less than
You
that?
can use less, but I mean, you can strain it off at the end. You use it, you colour it, you can strain it off. I left ours in just to.
I agree. Pasta making would be a good class.
Yes.
Just going to find someone who knows how to do it.
Yeah.
That was my James.
I think pasta making would be really. It'd be an education for the girls, James.
Certainly
An
would be.
education.
Certainly would be.
Oh.
Yeah.
The second
Danny?
cup, that's Bran. Bran. So Bran's named after an Irish wolfhound.
So this is bran. Bran was originally noodles. Noodles lasted 2 days
Can you put the dog on?
and died. So then we got bran.
She's been with us for.
Brand's obviously a girl.
Bran started out as a boy and now as a girl. All right.
But she's an Irish wolfhound. I just have broccoli. Is that okay to put it in? Put
Yeah,
the
broccoli you would add right at the end. Don't cook it, take it off the heat, just stir it through. Because you don't want that nice Northern Ireland broccoli. What you want is beautiful green broccoli. So put it in nice and raw, chop it small, and then just stir it through. And it will
What
cook.
bread would you prefer to serve?
I would use a Bourke Street sourdough. Beautiful. With a bit of seeds in there. Hey, Whitey?
Seedy sourdough.
Seedy sourdough. A bit like Whitey. Seedy sourdough. If Whitey was a bread, he'd be a seedy sourdough. Okay,
Oh,
that concludes tonight.
what's been happening?
What's been happening?
Go that angle. Go that way.
Yeah, sorry. What's been happening in the world of the bakery?
Yeah.
Yeah, not a massive week actually. Still, obviously all the changes still going through. A little bit of outside dining's happened this week. Lots of people were moving back into work.
Lucy's got a question. Do you use vinegar to balance? Hello? Lily? Sorry, I'll find out in a minute.
Vinegar to balance.
Yeah. Lily, do you use vinegar to balance?
What do you use Tyrrell today?
You asked James about how Bourke St Bakery was. Turn around. Ask James how Bourke St Bakery was.
I didn't bring any cards tonight. I missed the boat.
Oh, go on.
So it's been okay. It's been getting.
Yeah. Things are starting to go back to
Is
normal
everyone
slowly.
off? No.
Thankfully we're sort of starting to bring back some normal production as well now. So it's been working split shifts and all that sort of stuff. So that's starting to go back to normal. So I think really 1st of July will be a big pivotal date for everyone.
Does the announcements that he made today, that doesn't mean
No. Most of our places are so small, as are most small cafes.
Are you doing sit-in now or no? Still not?
The places that have outside dining, they can sit in. But at the moment, it's just still got to, whilst ever there's that 1.5 metres, and people have to line up in the store, we won't have any seats inside. Yeah. It just doesn't.
No. That's okay.
But I think 1st of July, we'll all wind back on.
Oh, cool. All right. Doggy. All right, everyone, can you grab Doggy. No, can you go up to Dad? Come out and say bye. Night, everyone. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Bye. How do you go?
Thank you.
I don't know where.
Another one.
He's got prostate.
So everybody's okay. Nobody's had any dramas with their stuff that's been in the oven.
Nothing's cracked. Nothing's wow.
Thanks, guys. See you in a couple of weeks.
Oh, there lies.
Party show.
Thank you, and we'll see you. What's the next one?
26th June.
26th of June. What is it?
That's the Porchetta.
Porchetta, live from Banksia. You don't have to buy it. You can buy it if you want. Details, you can go By Fassnidge, but it's a pretty big. This is a big class, but it's a great class to learn. It's a great class to learn. It's a prep class, but you could do it.
No, laws, we're not involved in Miranda anymore.
Miranda, no.
No.
People in Miranda don't like it. We like the people in Miranda. Can you stop TikToking? It looks like you're having a fish. Like this is like.
No, Natalie, we're here. What's your question?
You like my hair? I got my hair. I got my hair quick. Yeah.
Natalie, what was your question? Can Colin do a TikTok dance?
Yes! Okay!
No, Natalie, that's $180, that one. And it's on Snapchat, that one.
I don't know if that was Natalie.
No. Okay, thank you, guys. Hold on. Oh, common sense cook coming out. New cookery book.
I have too much liquid in my. Oh, she's too much liquid in there stew.
Pour half out, and you can keep it. So next time you make the stew, you use that as your base, or not half, but just keep enough. Or you can just keep it reducing. It's not a problem.
So if your meat's cooked, take out half the liquid and keep it.
No, you can keep it reducing if you want. If you're not in a hurry, it will reduce. Put on top of the stove, and it will reduce.
Can she freeze the liquid?
Yes, you freeze whatever liquid you got left after this. You freeze. Next time you make this stew, you use that instead of water.
Somebody wants to know, why do you not feed your dog? It's been begging all night.
It's not my dog. Do you hear that joke? Does your dog bite? Dog bites the guy. Does your dog bite? Dog bites the guy. It's Guy Grossi's joke. The guy goes, I thought you said your dog doesn't bite. It's not my dog.
Right. Everybody say goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night. Good night, everyone. Thank you.